Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 10 versus 10 on Iron Waters, and I'm going to be playing with the 5th Panzer Division. As you can see, in classic 10v10 style, a rocket strike from the beginning of the game. Fortunately for us, going to be missing the mark. But I wanted to share this 10v10 with you guys today just because it was full of action, so really fun one. Sit back, relax and enjoy. So let's have a look at what I'm getting down at the beginning here. We have the Alouette moving forwards on the right hand side with the recon capability there to spot any sort of helicopter flanking. We've got a VulcanHDGaming, which is a really nice 25-point exceptional recon vehicle, which does also have smoke. We've got 4 squads of Jäger, really strong recon squads just because of their numbers at the start of the game, able to forward deploy those. And then we have a BO 105, which is going to be able to take out any pesky vehicles that we bump into at the start of the game. I'm also following that up with 2 Fliegerfaust. See the rocket strike coming in again, this time hitting us a lot harder. That Jäger taking quite a few rockets to the face there, losing a lot of his men. Behind all of that, I do have a Leopard 2A3, a Leopard 2A4, 2 Roland 3s. The 5th Panzer, I wanted to do another video about the 5th Panzer for a little while, so this was a great opportunity for that as well. The Leopard 2A3 and Leopard 2A4s did get nerfed in their front armor, which made them significantly worse against things like T-80s. Basically any tank that had better armor than they did they were really struggling against. But these days I find that if you utilize veterancy appropriately, their gun is still exceptionally good. You got 21 penetration, you got the maximum range, 70% accuracy there. You can see that's only with 1 vet, so you can push that all the way up to 80% veterancy on the 2A4, and that is huge. So really good at ambushing enemy tanks and taking those first shots. And as you can see, Spetsnaz here are the first infantry that I'm going to be bumping into, and the Leopard 2A4s and 2A3s able to get some good shots on target, but we're already being targeted by this Malka on the back line. We had a chap on our team who was flying across the back line with the Black Hawk, spotting a lot of enemy FOBs and artillery at the beginning of the game, so that's really going to help us. And our team shot those down early on. But the infantry engagement's still carrying on here, and all I really want to do is make sure I try and finish off these Spetsnaz squads. We don't want those to get away and then end up getting resupplied on the backside. We do have a bit of a T-34 push coming in here, charging down my Leopard 2A4, but my Leopard 2A4 is just going to stand its ground and take on the wave all on its own. It's only going to take 1 shot per T-34. Just got to make sure that I maintain enough distance that the T-34s can't shoot back at us. I've also got the BO 105 with the Hot 2 providing some ATGM support as we go, and ND's coming over the top here with the A10 rocket strike that absolutely decimates the infantry on the right hand side, so fantastic job there. But that's another T-34 down. You can see the Fuchsmilans as well here on the backside also getting involved as they were bringing up the Pioneer with the flamethrowers. So just going to be moving around here on the left hand side now that those are all dead. Make sure I can cover off this gap in the front line whilst the Pioneers move up here. I think they have their hand flambetrons rather than flamethrowers, but either way going to be very good at taking on enemy infantry at close range. So I managed to save one of my Jäger. Another one is over on the left hand side here, so we're doing pretty well so far in that we still have all 4 of our initial Jäger alive. My 2A3 and the 2A4 are still alive. You can see I am bringing in now some supply to fix up the 2A3 on the backside here. MiG-29s and Su-27s facing off against Eagles in the sky, and these Eagles have used up a lot of their AMRAAMs, so they are going to have to be careful as these aircraft will cause issues potentially. But all the while I'm going to be continuing my push. With a lot of that infantry on the right hand side dealt with, we are going to be able to move up and hopefully secure these buildings, which is kind of the next line of defense. If I can get in there, it's going to make it harder for them to counterattack us once again. You see both these vehicles coming in. They're only UAZs, so they're going to be smaller squads that I'm going to have to deal with, so the Pioneer should be absolutely fine to deal with that, unless these don't even unload, in which case the Jaeger can just finish them off. So that worked out really well. BA-105 is going to land and get some supply from the Mountcat there, and we're getting those Jaeger Aufkala back online so that we can continue to push forwards with those. Bux Milan in a nice position here to throw 80 gems down the road. Now you might notice on this map that they have changed it quite considerably when they did the patch where they took out a lot of extra trees on a lot of the map to open up the armor play a bit. This all used to be forest here, so you'd be able to like just walk up all the way to this town, but now there's a big old gap, so it makes these buildings a lot more important, which is why like getting up to this next line of defense was really good for me. I'm just going to be pinging that MI8 on the right hand side, as it is supply that might be trying to resupply any of like the Spetsnaz that maybe got away or something. But all the while I'm just going to be bringing up more 2A4s. 2A4s, as I mentioned, you can push up their accuracy like crazy if you give them veterancy. So I was hoping to be able to sort of control the open ground here whilst I move infantry into the town. One really nice thing about the 5th Panzer is they do actually get quite a lot of good infantry. You can see like the Jaeger Aufkala is a good example of that with the 11 strength recon squad. The Jaegers are a good example of that, a 50-point squad with like 11 men. It's really good, decent enough AT weapon. And then you got like the Pioneers with the hand Flambertron, which is a pretty nice close range weapon as well. So you got basically everything you need in the infantry tab, whilst also sporting some pretty heavy armor. So Leopard 2A4 now going to be trying to get up into this tree line so that I can get some shots potentially onto the onto the TATUD. If I can just sneak through here and get the first shot on target, that's all I really need to do. So that's what we're going to be trying for. The artillery now coming in for my Jaeger Aufkala. They're going to catch that and get absolutely annihilated instantly. Poor chaps. Because those are most likely like Malkas and stuff. They're just going to be dealing tons of damage if they manage to get a direct hit on target. Now Indy, he's coming up with his Bradley push on the right hand side here. You got the M3A1 Bradleys, you got some M2A2 Bradley in there with the command. There's a couple of M1A1 ACAVs. So Indy here with his 11th Armoured Cavalry trying to go for the flank on the outside, whilst I try and continue to take care of Halcyon head on. Bux Milan is going to be able to get out of the way of the HGM in time as it takes off. Jaegers need the support of the vehicles on the right hand side as they are getting absolutely toasted by the RPO, but nice job by the Rolands to take down the Su-24M. That is the laser guided bomb, and it did manage to blow up my 2A4, but those things, they turn like a truck. So they really do get shot down very frequently, and thankfully having both of the Rolands in position already really helped me out there. So trading the Leopard for the Su-24 is not actually too bad. Like, it does kind of throw off our momentum a little bit, but it's an important unit that they're not going to have access to once again. You'll also notice on the backside here I have brought up an M109. That was just to initially target the cargo helicopter, but since I was making ground enough already, that's where the HGM came in. Unfortunately, these A10s having a bad time as the Su-27 comes overhead, also going to be hit by the AA on the backside. Absolutely devastating for ND losing both those A10s, but beautiful seeing those missiles flying around and the aircraft getting taken out of the sky. It's always so cinematic. Absolutely awesome. That's why I'm saying relatively zoomed in on this one, because you can see if I zoom out, well, there's a full-scale 10v10 going on, of course, as the push and pull goes on across the map. On the left-hand side, our team is under pressure. On the right hand side here, we're putting on the pressure, so able to equal out the score at the moment, and things are going pretty well for me personally. So I'm going to be getting up my supply pretty close range now, just because both of these pioneers, I want to get their hand flampatrons sorted out, get them reloaded, get their med back ready to go. I'm going to bring up my leader as well, just to give them extra veterancy. That should help with their recovery of cohesion. All the while, 204 just going to be trying to secure this tree line, maybe get a shot onto the Tunguska at some point. Roland's on the right. They're trying to take down that Su-27, unfortunately failing. Su-27's on the back line at the moment, causing plenty of problems for us. Now going to be backing those off. Whenever you fire with good AA, whether it be like Books, Cubs, or like in this case Roland's, do make sure that you back them off after you fire, because they're going to be targets for artillery almost immediately. Now the 2A4 did manage to catch out the Tunguska, so that was great. The Rolands did manage to dodge that artillery that almost hit ND because of that. But onwards we go. Jaeger Aufkada, Jaegers continuing their push forwards. Seed missile did come in and land next to the Roland 3s. Lucky for me not to get hit. And we did manage to hit them with our Roland, so I would say I was pretty lucky there. Another A-10 now coming in, looking for the rocket strikes onto this infantry, taking out the Modschützen for us, hitting that unit with rockets as well. MiGs trying to land their missiles at long range, and do manage to finish it off as they come in, but one of the MiG-29s catches missiles from my Rolands. The second one also going to go down, so a couple of big kills for us as we manage to shut down their air-to-air units. Still, of course, have to worry about the Su-27s throughout the game, as they are continuously patrolling in that backline. Thankfully for me personally, as the 5th Panzer, I'm not going to be relying too much on my aircraft. It's mainly just going to be tanks, infantry, AA, recon. That's pretty much it. And you just kind of try and steamroll forwards, maintain your advantage, and utilize that in order to make ground. So at the moment it's going pretty well. Jaeger Aufkada taking out the KDA Aufkada. The Jaegers are trying to come up and deal with the KDA Schutzen, but they're pretty long cohesion, so they probably won't do too well. But this Jaeger Aufkada is moving up on the left-hand side all the while, giving us line of sight into the town, and also hopefully getting into this position, we'll be able to fully secure this sector. You see on the left-hand side here, Fortitude Fence and Farks have done a good job of pushing through, so we've got our 4 chaps on this right-hand side doing a great job securing this sector, which is really important because I believe our team might have been outnumbered on the left, which is why they were struggling to hold on there. So we've really got to make this count, really got to try and take as much ground as possible, and so far so good. Now you might notice how I'm actually kind of limiting the amount of infantry that I'm bringing in. Whilst I could bring in more infantry and put infantry in basically every building, it does make you a big target for bombing strikes and artillery. So I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible. You can see I'm also keeping the Leopards spread out, and that way I have a Leopard ready for if any sort of vehicles start to put pressure onto my infantry that those infantry can't deal with themselves. Recon continuously important. I sit on the backside. We got the Fernspeer coming in as well. Those have the GSR trait. The GSR trait is when they're not moving, they can use that GSR, the ground surveillance radar, and increase their optics, which allows them to spot things much easier at longer range, which is really nice. BA-105 still chilling. We've got the Roland still alive on the backside, so things going very, very nice here. I'm also going to be bringing up a couple of Gepards. The reason I decided to bring up the Gepards was because of the threat of helicopters, and also potentially the Roland's hitting a missile but not hitting a second, and therefore the Gepards can do the little bit of extra damage that is needed to take down the enemy aircraft. So PVAD's here going to be dealing well with the Mi-8 there. And ND's still making good progress, in fact, with his M3A1 Bradleys and the M3A2 Bradley there. M1A1A Cav going to be killing off that Modostrauki. And it's allowing me time to easily move up here. So getting the Rolands into better positions, getting the Gepards into better positions, allowing the Pioneers with the Hand Flampatron to deal with infantry at close range. Jaegers are going to be coming in to help reinforce. We still got supply on the backside, so things are all going really, really well here. And yeah, the BO-105 there with the Hot 2 actually getting good hits through the center. And the Hot 2 is a pretty nasty HGM. If it lands on target, it has 24 AP. So that 14 front armor on the T-62 going to take a beating from that. Leopard 2A3 also going to be moving up. I was going to hope to get this into the forward sector, but as you can see, we're in trouble here with the 2A4. I overextended this whilst ND was falling back, and it did mean that I ended up getting engaged by the Kokon of the Mi-24P and also the main gun of the enemy tank at the same time. So I'm trying to recover that, bring it back, get it fixed up. ND has brought up a couple of Chinook supply on the backside here, so those will be helping us out. That's a really cool view, isn't it, with the smoke in the distance, the Alouette hovering overhead, providing recon. Leopard 2A4 pushing up aggressively on the left side of the town. I got the Fuchs Acid in position here to provide the exceptional optics, help spot those infantry. Just continuing the wave of forces pushing forwards here. Now at the moment as a team we're only on a +1. We fully secured this sector. We currently have this sector contested still on the left hand side, so we're not ticking up points that quickly at the moment. Well, Buratino strike now coming in. Does manage to take out both of those supply helicopters, unfortunately for us. Also going to lose a unit there. And those Jaegers managing to survive. Kind of a big loss for us losing the supply, because it takes away the base from which we can repair a lot of these tanks and the Bradleys that ND is trying to use to push forwards. A10 comes up there. Ooh, almost takes out the T-72, takes out the AA unit. And this combination of forces still doing well for ND as I continue to move up in the town. I'm also trying to get the Leopard 2A4s to the left here to help with enemy tanks. Get the Roland 3s up. Big airstrike coming in. That's like multiple Su-22s and Su-20s. Absolutely pastes ND's troops. He's left with one M3A1. Su-24 seed actually goes down to the IHawk, so that was a good trade for my Roland 3. Yeah, unfortunately, ND's push is put to bed. And I'm going to be taking up the mantle on that right-hand side as I try and move the 2A3 into position there to capture this sector. So now we got the 2A4s up against the TA-TUD. The 2A3 was hanging out in front, ends up getting popped. With the artillery coming down on top of my 2A4s, the cohesion just going to make that untenable, so going to have to leave that engagement. The Leopards here on the right-hand side going to help finish off the T-62M. The BO-105 managed to get its last shot on target, so that worked out quite nicely. TADBV now going to be the next target for those Leopards. And the HGM of the Marder going to finish that off. MiG coming overhead. Roland hits the target, and then the AA that's left over finishes it off. There's actually the Duster here that was firing away at that MiG. And I had my two Gepards as well, so we managed to finish it off. So we're pushing out the enemy from this town entirely, which is really important because it gives us a really good position from which to contest this far right sector. And this far right sector is a +2 sector, which means that we're now at a +3 overall. And we're continuing to make ground. The T-72s are building up though, so I will have to be a bit careful with the 2A4s, although the BO-105 still managing to move forwards relatively uncontested so far, which is really nice. The Hot 2 able to get a lot of value from the beginning of the game so far. Unfortunately, this rocket artillery And the rockets coming in from the enemy helicopters here, going to push the cohesion down on those 2A4s, make it very unlikely they're going to hit the T-72s as the T-72 comes in. Pretty up to the Gepards to just shut down these Mi-2s, and so far managed to take out 2 of them, so that was pretty nice. Yeah, 105 able to deal plenty more damage as well. Going to move back, resupply on the Mancat here. 2 2A4s have arrived on the backside, so going to be shifting them up to join us. Su-27 making a decent amount of damage, and the Roland actually managing to shoot that down with its second shot was really, really nice. Those Su-27s, they have a decent amount of ECM, so a good second hit there from the Roland. Alright, Leopards regrouping now. I'm going to try and present 4 Leopard 2A4s up against these T-72s to just try and finish them off ASAP. I'm also, as you can see, moving up the Jaeger and Jaeger Avcar on the right hand side just to kind of gain some ground there. Because Andy here, he's moving up his Ihawks, trying to get them into a better position. Maybe a bit of more of a greedy position, to be honest. But 2A4 now in position to engage the T-72. You can see the shot there, managing to take them down to half health. Great thing about Leopards, really accurate on the move as well, so pushing aggressively into the T-72s, but as the rockets come in from the Mi-2, we're going to have to back off because that's just ruining the cohesion of all my tanks. And we don't want to continue an engagement with low cohesion up against T-80s, otherwise things are going to go pretty badly. So you can see I'm backing off there. I'll just take my couple T-72 kills and we'll reset. So Roland 2's now joining the action. Since one of my Roland 3's died, I just bought 2 Roland 2's. Make sure that the enemy can't exploit our lack of radar AA. So on the right hand side, the Jaeger's managing to catch out the Konkers there. And the Gepard's going to be finishing off the Motostrauki on the street there. Poor guy gets absolutely ruined by those shots coming in from the Gepard. Roland 3 here, looking for a cheeky kill onto some of these helicopters. Does manage to take down the Mi-24V, and the Gepard finishes off the Mi-14. So that was good. Try and maybe shoot the next one as well. Although the T-72 making it difficult at the moment. Here comes a lot of bombs though. Su-22 with the HE bombs, Su-20 with the cluster. The bomber hits my Jaegers, the cluster hits my Leopard 2A3. And whilst we do shoot down a couple of those aircraft, we do lose the leader on the right hand side of the sector. And since the left hand side is being pushed in pretty hard at the moment, we have also lost the leader there. So we are going to relinquish control of this sector back to the enemy as they really start to pile in here. The enemy team has really started to come together to try and prevent us from taking any more ground. Once again, the Gepard there managing to just finish off that little bit of health the MiG-23BN had left. So Mi-2s on the right hand side trying to get the better of the 1A1. But the Roland 2 in position, the Gepard also in position. Like the fact we have like 4 Gepards in the town here means that any aircraft that fly over the top are very unlikely to live. The nice thing about Gepards as a spag is they still have like really good range against aircraft. They got 3,000 meters range against aircraft, which is very good. Okay, rocket artillery coming in. You can see that I was already starting to move that AA as I realized it presented a good target for artillery. That's really something I don't see people do enough. Move their AA after it fires, because it's very likely that your opponents are going to try and arty it if they see it that it's in position. Now, unfortunately, the Roland 2 went down. I think it got popped by one of these BRMs that was pushing into the tree line here. I'm trying to get the Avcutter over so that it can get its Panzer Fast 44 on target. Unfortunately, the Gepard, I could try and pull it away here, but not going to be able to. Mi-24P also going to get on top of the Avcutter now. I was bringing up the 2A4. Got to be a bit careful of side shot, as I could still lose the 2A4 to a BRM if it showed side armor. But you can see the BRM there, not really able to respond at close range. Meanwhile, 2A4's on the left-hand side, trying to basically prevent a little bit of a push here from these T80s. See, there's a T80 UD. It's in a pretty forward position, so I was hoping to get shots on, but the cohesion once again from the helicopters getting very, very low. Now, big infantry contingent coming into the town, and we're starting to come under a lot of pressure here. Nighthawk coming in with the bombing strike. Fortunately not hitting the best target. But these Leopards, I'm just letting them recover on this backside. You can see the cohesion still like normal. So I'm just recovering them, then we can push forwards again. But still an Mi-24P and an Mi-24V AT sitting there. And that's something that the Leopards just can't deal with. I'm down to 1 Leopard. I've lost both my Rolands, so we're really lacking AA. And you can see I do lose a 2A4 there. Goes up in smoke. Buratino going to be hitting the town as well. Dealing a lot of damage to the Jaegers that were holding the line. So I'm going to be forced to start to fall back. 2A4 supply here. All going to be having to move off the Alouette. Getting hit by enemy Spag. A10 coming in on the right hand side. He's just going to get blasted out the sky. Was that a Krug missile? I think that was a Krug missile. Absolutely annihilated that A10. Yeah, I'm just kind of pulling out of this position now. It was becoming very, very difficult to hold the line. More 2A3s are on the way. I got more Jaegers on the way. Got more AA on the way on the very backside there. And one thing that I wasn't really doing very well throughout this game is I kind of forgot that I'd bought this M109, so it was kind of just chilling in the backside for the majority of the game. But either way, still able to get a lot of work done so far. And since they've managed to shift a lot of troops over to this side, it has sort of relinquished pressure on our left flank. So our team's managed to recover here, and we're still maintaining the offensive objectives. So that's okay. You know, we don't need to push that far. It was just helpful to increase the score in the game, basically. So 2A3 cleaning up T55. Do have to be careful with the T55s in close range. They can still do damage. Nighthawks on the backside, firing away. Oh, look at that in the distance. Very cool. As the MiG goes down. Jaegers have now arrived. I'm going to be able to spread them out. And my tanks, they're trying to just play around this right-hand side, cover this open area, so that if the infantry manage to push through the town, we can then move up to this position and basically start contesting the corner of this objective again. But all the while, still providing supply. Myself and Endy kind of helping each other out in that regard. Rocket artillery still hitting us hard though from across the map, causing issues. My poor Jaeger there. Best to just stay put and hope they don't get direct hit. Unfortunately they did. Mancat managed to survive though. And these Jaegers in the town actually doing a pretty good job of cutting down the Modschützen, the Panzerjäger, T55, also slowly getting chipped by AT weapons. On the right hand side, again another T55 going to get taken out. And we're looking to kill these PT-76s as well. Buratino coming in hot. Going to be hitting the 2A3 there. And my leader 2A3. Really rough strike for me. This one also managed to get hit by that Buratino, so I'm going to have to back that one off. Buratino causing a lot of damage. I'm having a hard time shutting it down. I'm a 2A3 here. Going to be trying to hit these vehicles, but currently being microed in and out of cover, which is very risky, as my 2A3 is going to constantly like turn to the left to engage units in the town and then turn back to engage units on the right. Thankfully it did take out the BRM there. It's going to reduce that threat a little bit. More Jaegers have arrived to replace the ones that are extremely damaged on the front line here. BT-76 taken care of. I was a bit worried that that was an Su-22 with AT, but I see it's HE afterwards. Does at least stop its strike, so that was good. And the Gepard there, not quite managing to finish the job, but the Eyehawk certainly did. No, we're slowly getting pushed back out of position. And my Leopard 2A4s don't really have many places to go. I don't really want to move too aggressively with the 2A4s on the right hand side if I don't have full control over the town, because it can cause the issue that I was having there where the Leopard 2A3 is sort of trying to aim in each direction. On the left hand side we got the T80 UDs pushing in on us, so I'd have to move the Leopards all the way over to the left here if I wanted to help engage that, because engaging it through the town leaves us with no cover. So definitely becoming a difficult scenario here, and the helicopters are also building up the whole time. We're trying to get the Gepards into a position where we can kill those off. 2A3 is going to help take out the T80BV, so that was good. Gepard's going to get on target now of the Mi-8TB. So we are able to shoot down the Mi-8TB. We're also going to be trying to get rid of the Mi-24 or the Mi-14. Getting rid of that exceptional optics would be fantastic, but I'm just going to be forcing the Gepard to fire at their Mi-24V to try and kill that off. Unfortunately, wasn't quite able to, and we don't want to overextend here. You see the Su-25 there floating around on the back line. Our two more Pioneers with the hand Flambetrons have now arrived. Another Jaeger team is on the way. One of my Jaegers did survive. Actually, I think two of my Jaegers survived in the town here and managed to come back and resupply on these Aman cuts. So that's going to give us some extra stuff to work with. Gepard's taken out an Mi-14, so we are starting to get to grips with things once again. The rockets coming in from ND's Cobras here are certainly going to help out a lot in cleaning up this infantry. The Reservisten and the Panzerjägers both getting slowly cut down, and on the left hand side you can see that the wall of friendly units is really starting to thicken up and push on that side as well. So things going very well. Do have the enemy pushing up this road now. I'm going to be able to pull across the 2A4s to start engaging all of these light vehicles. Just got to take care of any that are particularly scary, like the T-62 can maybe do some decent damage against the 2A4, but not if it gets absolutely bombed to oblivion. Books Milan sitting here in cover is going to do a lot of damage with that Milan over time. Really good at taking out enemy light vehicles, also going to chip damage onto the T-72 or the T-80UD in this case as well. Yeah, T-72 goes down, now 2A4 finishing off the last MTRB on the left hand side. Having a bit of difficulty in the town though. The SBW 152 ZPUs are using their guns in fire support, and they are causing problems for the Jaegers. So the Jaegers, they're trying to get forwards with those Panzerfausts and get shots on target. They are slowly but surely doing that. But their cohesion will get affected over time quite dramatically. 1A1 having another go at taking down the helicopter. He managed to finish it off this time, so that was a good kill. Takes away another threat from my 2A4s. So I've also now brought up a bunch of BO-105s that I'm going to be spreading out to help deal with the T-80UD if it tries to push forwards. On the right hand side, I'm continuing to push through with the Pioneers and the Jaeger, and we've got the Leopard 2A3 here as well. Mi-8TB going to get taken out by the Gepard. Slowly but surely killing off these support weapons and holding back the tide of infantry with the Jaegers. So things going pretty well as we now push for a +3 across the map. Sathor and Fox managing to get pressure into that objective is opening up the map quite a bit now. Fortunately, Motorazvedka managed to sneak up on this right hand side, and my Leopard 2A3 is in a really tough position if it doesn't manage to show front armor in time. Gonna take a decent amount of damage. The RPG-22 able to fire very quickly, and unfortunately we got spalling crit. Now as it's reversing, we're going to get hit from the other direction. I think in theory what may have been the best idea there is just to have the 2A3 like try and face tank the shots from the Razvedka, but there was a couple of crits in there. You might have noticed the first shot I took extra damage, and then the second shot we got the spawning crit specifically. That's really kind of sucked for my 2A3 there, so I'm going to bring back the Pioneers to finish that off. All the while the Cobras here still providing so many rockets on target, deleting any and all infantry. And as I spot that infantry on the right hand side, the Sea Knight finishes it off. So managed to get rid of that flanking attempt. The 2A4 is still holding the ground on the left hand side. We're now pushing a +5 as our team on the left side has managed to move in there as well. The front is collapsing all across for our opponents. So it won't be long now, but this town got absolutely ruined in the back and forth. More troops still coming down the road here. Buratino going to be firing away once again, this time looking for my 2A4 as it's trying to engage infantry across the open. I'm trying to reverse out of that, but there's just no time. Like if the Buratino's directly on target there, then it's just a really bad time for that, because you don't really have anywhere to run as you're right in the middle of the circle, unless you do it like sooner than later. AH-1Fs trying to get those chain guns on target. Also trying to get the Age of Gems from the Sea Knights onto the BBs, but not having a good time with that at the moment. Has two Strela 10Ms coming up there, starting to take them out, but the rest saved by the bell, as that is victory. And what a fun game that was. In the end, 37 minutes, 47 seconds, victory with 7,405 kills to 3,850 losses. Yeah, I really liked the way that this game played out, in that our pressure on the right-hand side with 4 players really started to break through the enemy, and as we got closer to their spawns, they pushed us right back, but then it opened up the door on the far left side of the map for our teammates to push through, and just like the way it played out was really cool. Very sort of fluid front line. Ronin 3s actually did very well for us. The Gepards were a fantastic investment. 2A4s did their job. This one managed to get a T-80UD. The Leopard 2A3s maybe not doing as well, but still useful in support. Like most of my kills here really coming in from AA and my infantry and the tanks. Yeah, really fun stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.